You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies with your host, Jason Marshall.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Before we get started, I just want to apologize for there not being a Thursday show. There were some scheduling conflicts and stuff happens, but I was on another show that day. I want to give a shout out to the guys over at Cave Crew Radio. I had a great time, and I'll have a link to that in the show notes if you want to check it out. I think you should. But today, I have a guest here who is going to be on the stand-up show at Diesel in Springfield, Ohio. That'll be at 1914 Edwards Avenue on June 10th at 10 p.m. It's Jessica Graue.
Yay, Jessica
I said it
Graue.
Right. I said it right?
Yep, you did. You did. Very German.
This is a take two, guys. I had a really great thing about my wife's name being Shearsmith and how the DMV wouldn't let her have it on her license, but you'll never hear that. How you doing?
I am very, very well today. I had a really good show last night.
Oh, yeah?
And actually, there's 2 more shows tonight at Wiley's Comedy Club in Dayton. It's a bullying show, I Am Bethany show. A bunch of really good local comics. Mike Merrifield, I think, is the headliner's name. It's a benefit for bullying. And I think the family that it benefits is actually from Springfield, Ohio. So I had a show there last night, and it was pretty good. It was a small but mighty crowd, but my parents were there, of course. They come to, like, all my shows. So,
really?
Yes.
My parents have never come to my show.
My dad thinks it's so great that I'm a comedian. Like, I'm also a professor, and I'm also a journalist, which are really cool things as well. But whenever he talks about me to anybody now, it's my daughter, the comedian. It's not my daughter with a master's degree or my daughter with Associated Press Awards. It's the comedian. And he did this thing for a long time when I first started doing comedy where he liked to embarrass me because that's what parents do. He would wear, like, a different hat to every show, like a stupid hat, like a hat that was a beer mug. And, like, that golfer with the spiky hair? He had a hat like that. My dad's bald. And he would wear this spiky hair hat. St. Patrick's Day hats. It was, he got over that, though. He got over that after about a year. So thank God. Thank God. I think he ran out of hats.
I did have my in-laws come to one of my shows. And if you want to hear that story, check out that episode of Cave Crew Radio. I'm not going to repeat that here. It was a bad time.
Really?
They were just trying to be supportive. It was just the jokes that I had. They were kind of about my wife, and I wasn't expecting them to be there. I know my wife was cool with it.
I make a lot of jokes about my husband because, sometimes he's just ridiculous and sometimes he's terrible, and you just got to call him out on stage. I don't have in-laws, actually, because his parents are dead.
Lucky.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to work on a bit about that, but it's just really depressing. He has aunts, though, and he's got a bunch of aunts, so they all come to the show sometimes. But they seem okay about it because they know he's weird. So they're cool with my jokes about him.
One thing I was wanting to talk to you about is how long you've been doing comedy.
Since 2013. So I only started doing comedy when I was 32, which is kind of old, I guess. Well, I feel old anyway, especially hanging out with the younger comedians. Because, like, a lot of them don't have jobs and stuff. And, like, no drive. And I started doing comedy because my students, I'm a professor at different universities in the Dayton area. Because all my evaluations kept coming back with, Jess is really funny, makes me really comfortable in class, things like that. So I started doing research about creating a class about humor and comedy and how that helps students learn. I teach writing. So it lent itself really well to a research class about humor and comedy, and they had to research different comedians, different styles, and I'd really make them, like, not write every paper about Kevin Hart, like try to make them think outside the box a little bit. And a lot of them ended up doing things about Shakespeare and, all kinds of stuff. And then there's also a presentation in the class where one of the options is doing 2 to 3 minutes of stand-up. Nice. So some students in the class actually got to try stand-up, and some were really good, and then, the rest were terrible that tried it, but they tried it.
Did they do that in the classroom?
Yeah, they just do it in the classroom. And I make them do improv as well, which some of them are just, frightened by improv. But I make them do improv, the first week of class. I have an improv teacher come in and do improv so that they can get comfortable with each other and, get to know each other a little bit better. So, yeah, that was a really great class. So, and I started teaching it, and then they were like, well, why aren't you a comedian? And I was like, well, yeah, you're right. I should probably do that. So I started doing comedy in 2013, going to the Funny Bone in Dayton and Wiley's in Dayton as well. So that's how I got started.
And on the part of the episode that was lost,
yeah,
we were talking about some of your influences.
Yeah.
And you had a really good story.
Yeah, I can tell that story again. I tell it all the time. I tell it on stage a lot because I love it. Usually around Joan's birthday. Yeah, it's Joan Rivers. Is one of my biggest influence because I am a writer. I'm a journalist. I had an interview with her and a hairstylist. I didn't really pay much attention to the hairstylist, though. I was kind of like, eh.
It's hard, too, when Joan Rivers is in the room.
Yeah. And it is funny because Joan Rivers is just, sitting in the middle of the room. It was at the Marriott in Dayton. And it was really weird because I just show up at the Marriott and I'm like, hey, I'm here to interview Joan Rivers. And they're like, oh, yeah, our room's this room. Go on up. And I was like, okay. All right. I just went right up there and knocked on the door and got right in. I was like, oh, I guess you can just go to hotels all the time and be like, is there any famous people here? Can I go see them? I'm going to interview them. And people will just let you up there. But I interviewed her when I was 22. I thought I knew everything, but I didn't know anything, right? And I did not understand the magnitude of this interview until way later. Probably when I started doing comedy. I was like, oh, God, I interviewed Joan Rivers. I have so many more questions I need to ask her. I need to go back in time. But it was really awesome to be in a room with her because she is exactly how you think she is. There's no persona. She's her. That's how she is on stage. That's how she is in real life.
And she just seems like a real person.
Yeah.
I think part of that is you've seen her in so many different areas.
Yes.
Outside of comedy, she's on the red carpet, or she was doing Celebrity Apprentice. No matter where you saw her, she always seemed like the same person.
Yeah, and she was. She was kind of bitchy. She was. She told me I would look better if I wore a little bit more makeup. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't really wear any makeup in my 20s. I was kind of like a big hippie in my 20s. I didn't smell or anything. I just didn't wear a lot of makeup. But she told me I would look better with makeup, so she gave me a bag of makeup. And I still, to this day, do not remember where that bag of makeup went because I now wear makeup. So that would have been really cool to have her line of makeup.
She seemed like a very blunt person with a heart of gold.
Oh, yeah.
She made sure she got her point across as bluntly as possible.
She was like, hey, Jess, you're ugly. Here's makeup, though. I'm helping you. Don't you see?
You know she was a great woman and very influential and funny.
Yeah.
If she got somebody like me to watch the show Fashion Police.
Yeah. And she did a lot of
reality
shows, too. Like, she had a reality show that I loved watching with her and her daughter.
Melissa?
Yeah. So I really liked that show. And then there was a couple documentaries about her as well. And I remember this one documentary, and it had the way that she stored her jokes. She still wrote them all down on note cards. Mm-hmm. So if you remember, going to the library when you were, younger, and you had to go through all the note cards and find the book and the number and go find it. That's what she had.
Yeah, the Dewey Decimal System.
It was like a Dewey Decimal System of jokes. And I just remember being like, man, just type that shit up. Just put that in a document, put it in, it's all good. You don't need a whole room, but still, that would be a pretty cool room to go poke around in.
That would be.
Yeah, go through the jokes. That would be cool.
I wonder what happened to that room.
I don't know.
Because that definitely should be in a museum somewhere.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
What was one of your worst incidents on stage?
Okay, worst time on stage. There's just so many. There's just so many. Probably when I was in a contest, the fireworks contest at Wiley's in Dayton. I was kind of green to comedy, and I did not do well with people saying things to me when I was on stage because I would just freak out. Like, what? I had this all memorized in my head, and now you're messing it up. And so I had a joke about acronyms because my students like to abbreviate everything, and they like to use the letter U for the word U, which infuriates me. But they abbreviate everything, so I was talking about acronyms and how I have a student who didn't know what JFK stood for. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of this joke, that I have memorized perfectly, this guy goes, "What's an acronym?" And I was just like, I was so nervous. I was like, "I don't know, man. Maybe you should take my class or something, go back to school." And then it was just done from there. And I did not win the contest. Unfortunately. I tried the next year again. I still didn't win. So then I just stopped trying.
I think contests are hard.
I hate contests. Man, like the first couple of years, I was in comedy. I was like, yeah, contests. I'm going to do this. And, I advanced sometimes here and there, but I never won. So, and I never could get enough people there, I guess. And it's so difficult to get people there, especially when it's on like a Tuesday or, a Thursday, because that's when a lot of those other contests are. I'm actually in a contest next week, though.
Oh, yeah?
Funniest person in Cincinnati at Go Bananas.
I heard that's a good club. Have you been there?
I've been there before. It's pretty nice. I performed there a couple times. It's pretty nice. It's really dark in there. It's like it's kind of like Wiley's. You know how Wiley's has kind of got that seedy vibe.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it's in Montgomery, which is right outside of Cincinnati. So it's kind of like a suburban place. So it's kind of odd placement. And then you go into the club and it's like, ooh, yeah. This is kind of nice.
The first time I was at Wiley's, I liked being on stage. I mean, I was terrified because it was my first time. But it was so dark, you really couldn't see anybody.
You can't see anybody. I love it that way. I don't want to see anybody.
Well, I got that in my head too much, and the second time I got up there, I could see everybody.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting to see nobody.
Yeah.
And it just...
last night at Wiley's, nobody sat in the front rows. So, like, when you're a comedian, you can't see past the first row or two. So it's like you're just talking to nobody, until they laugh. And then you're like, oh, there are other people in the room. Stop picking my butt or whatever. That's what I do on stage.
I saw that you headlined over at the New Chapter. How was that?
I did. Well, it was an open mic. I headlined the open mic, but no other comedians showed up to do the open mic. So it was like just me.
No
Ta-da!
shit.
Yeah,
it was just you.
Yeah, it was me and Dale Blomquist.
Oh my god.
He runs the New Chapter open mic. So no comic showed up to do the open mic. So, but we had about 7 or 8 people there. So he did a couple minutes, and then I just got up there and did like 15, 20 minutes. So I did my own show.
Damn.
Nobody else. It was really cool, though, because I got to get home early. I got some nachos and stuff on the way home. Me and my husband were, like, in bed by 10. We were like, this is awesome. It should be like this all the time. Just get up there, 20 minutes of comedy, and then go home and go to bed. But I had a good set, so I had a good time. I liked it.
It's always an interesting show there. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, because I was there last month at the open mic, and there was, like, 10 comics there. And then this time there weren't any, but you know what happens in the summer, when it starts getting nice outside, nobody wants to go sit inside of a comedy club. So we got to start something where like we have outdoor comedy clubs or something. So people can sit outside and be in the sun, but that kind of defeats the purpose of comedy, I think, because it's a dark thing sometimes.
You could see if you could rent like a little softball field or something. That way they got the bleachers and you just sit at home plate, do your set.
Yeah.
You could do it at night with all the spotlights.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Ooh, that would be good. We should get with the Dragons, Dayton Dragons.
Oh, my God. That
do a comedy night at the Dayton Dragons field.
And you sell it out.
I can wear that costume. A dragon costume.
Well, one of the stories we were going to talk about on Cave Crew Radio, I don't think we had time. It's a story I wanted to talk about on here. I just want to make sure I acknowledge that because I don't want anybody thinking I stole their story. But it was a Florida strip club I never heard of a strip club having a buffet. Maybe I just don't know enough about strip clubs.
Well, buffet of what?
I guess. They had steak
food?
And ribs
Was
and
food?
shrimp. Yeah. Which surprised me. No, actually, that's not true. I was 20
surprised?
years old. No, this story shocked me. But I was 20 years old, and a friend of mine wanted me to go to a strip club with him because he had some kind of a ticket where if we got in, we could eat something for free. We got to choose something off the menu.
Eat something for free.
Yeah, so I thought, well, I guess I'll go and we'll get a free meal. And it was kind of weird. You just went up to the door, you gave them that, and they give you some kind of weird food ticket.
Yeah.
And you sat down, and the waitress would come up and you give her this.
That sounds seedy. I don't know about that. That sounds almost, I don't know.
Once I got in the club,
sounds criminal.
I didn't want to eat that anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to eat at a strip club.
I waited for him to eat whatever it was he got. We left. It was not a good
I don't know who
environment.
would want to eat at a strip club. Like, oh, boobs and shrimp cocktail. Like,
the other part is it can't be a very good strip club if their big selling point to get you in the door is food and it's free.
Yeah, we're going to stuff you and give you alcohol so it takes away from the fact that our girls are kind of, kind of got butterface. So.
I know it was in Dayton, but I have no other recollection of that story besides going there and getting a weird looking ticket and sitting there and being very uncomfortable while my friend ordered food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to tell the strippers that we're just here for the free meal.
Yeah. There's a strip club in Dayton called Katie's Place. It's on 5th Street. And I don't know why. We just went there one day because it's right down the street from the Oregon District in Dayton on 5th Street. And they didn't have any strippers. They had a stripper pole and they had a bar, but there was no strippers. And we were like, where's the strippers? And they were like, oh, they're off tonight. I'm like, what? It's a strip club.
Yeah.
And I had to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and there was like carpeting in the bathroom. I was like, oh, that's not a good idea.
No.
Not in a strip club.
No, not at all. I used to work at Diamonds. I would take the girls to work. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't even know how I got the job of taking girls to work. It was very weird.
Taking girls to work?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I would go to the stripper's house and I would pick them up and I would drive them to Diamonds and I would drop. I don't know how they got home because I think I might have taken
Why
one or two.
Why did you have to pick them up?
Well, that's the part. Looking back, I don't remember.
Well, they probably left with some other dudes.
I remember the saddest time that I went to this girl's house. This is why I could never be attracted to strippers. They're fun to hang out with. They're a lot of fun to talk to. After that, there's nothing. I went to this girl's house to pick her up. She's got a husband and some kids running around.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a nice house in a nice neighborhood. I took her back and forth to the club I don't know how many times. And then one day I pick her up, and she has a new place for me to get her. I show up, and it's just at this lake. And you know the little campers that you put in the back of a pickup truck? They're living in one of those on stilts, and it's all of them in there. The first time I picked her up, I thought, well, they're just hanging out for the weekend. I've been to this girl's house. And then after it became another time and another time, I thought, oh, this is their living situation.
So it wasn't even a trailer. It was just...
Yeah. It was like half of a back of a truck.
It was half of a truck on stilts is what it was.
Yeah. I really felt bad for her.
That's pretty sad. Well, she must not been working it as good as she should have been. Okay? She lost the house.
Yeah. I think I've told this story on here before, but I took one of the girls to work, and before we got there, she wanted to go to McDonald's, and she wanted extra onions on her burger.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I thought, you're going
to get heartburn, dude.
The industry you work in.
If you're going to turn upside down on a pole later... Oh, man, you're going to have some acid reflux.
Yeah, you need a lot of Listerine. And while we're waiting in line, you know the things that you put your change in the console, they just kind of go down as you put more in.
Oh, that must have been an old car.
Well, she's sitting there pushing them, and she's like, what are these for? Oh, my God.
I remember those. I think my dad had a 86 Z28. I think it had those. I was like, ooh.
I drop her off at the club. This happened every damn time, and I think that's why I quit taking her. Or maybe she requested me not to take her. We would get there, and it was the first one of the cars where when you put it in drive, the doors would lock. And people weren't really used to that at the time. And every time we would get to the club, she would go to get out of the car, and the door was locked. She would spend 30 seconds to a minute trying to figure out why she can't get out of the car. And then she would say something to me, and I tell her the door's locked. And then she would bitch at me like I'm some creep trying to keep her in my car, even though we're in front of where she works and there's cameras everywhere with security out front. I don't, it was like the weirdest kidnapping. I'm just going to kidnap her, but take her where she's supposed to go and then do very bad things in front of the place she's supposed to be and people are.
I have child locks on my car, so whenever anybody sits in the back, I have to get out and open the door for them, like, thank you for riding in my car.
But the story with the strip club was they had a buffet, and apparently there was some bad food on there. One of the girls was up dancing. A guy thought that another man next to him must have farted or something because he smelled something bad. And it wasn't much later he realized what the smell was because the stripper had diarrhea and apparently could not hold it. It went all over the stage. The guys around him started throwing up. They must have buffet hour.
I imagine like a Stand By Me situation. You know, do you remember in the movie where the guy throws up after eating all the pies and then everybody throws up like all over the place?
That's what
I imagine, but with diarrhea.
Like I said, it must have been a very particular time to have the buffet open because at that same time, 2 other strippers on 2 other stages started doing the same thing, and guys at the club started feeling sick, and there weren't enough stalls to accommodate all the men, and they just started using the sinks and the urinals.
Well, you know, sometimes you just got to poop in a sink. I don't know. So...
It is convenient. I mean, you just turn around and wash your hands and you're done.
Your butt's right there. It's a urinal for your butt. That's what a sink is.
They should at least make urinal sinks.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that. It had to be just pandemonium, man. People puking and throwing up and
maybe they let the buffet
themselves.
Food sit out like for 3 days or something.
Yeah, they said that they think it was the shrimp.
Yeah, it must have been the fish. It's a strip club. It must have been the fish.
Well, guys, we're going to take a break. I'm going to play a few segments. One called Fake Advice for Comics. That's by Dave Nelson from the Comedy A Go-Go podcast. I'll have a link in the show notes for that. And a prank call from Eugene Merman and a song by Mike O'Connell.
Welcome to... Here are all your choices. Flights, hotels.
Hotels.
Okay, hotels. What can I help you with? You can say cancel reservation or change reservation.
Fix reservation?
I heard you say change reservation. Is that correct?
Okay.
Thank you for calling customer service. This is Paula. What can I do for you today?
Hi, Paula. I made a reservation at a hotel, and I needed a cot, and then when we got here, they said they'd bring one, but they didn't, and now there are no cots available. But somebody's going to have to stay on the ground, and I was hoping to get a refund.
Okay, were you charged for the rollaway through our end?
I mean, I filled it out. I'm assuming I was. What if it was a baby? What if a baby had to sleep on the ground?
That's just a request through our end. It's not a guarantee.
In a way, you're kind of saying my baby has to sleep on the floor.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's not. I'm not going to say it.
Please say it.
I'm not going to say it.
Say it.
No.
Say your baby has to sleep on the floor.
I'm not going to say that.
So you can't give me any money back?
No.
Well, could you give me a brief list of things that I should just be aware of to check up on?
You know, you might want to check for a bathroom. You might want to check for a phone. You might want to check what type of beds. And you might want to check how many people's allowed in the room.
My baby has to sleep on the floor. Do you realize that my baby is 34 years old?
Listen.
And his name is Leo.
Okay, you get 2 double beds with a rollaway. You're guaranteed 2 double beds.
Right. But do you know that I have a policy that when makes an agreement with me, they agree that if they don't do the thing that I thought they would do, they would give me $25. That's a policy I have.
Oh.
Is going to tell me that they're not going to give me $25 now?
You're not going to get $25.
But it's a policy I have. How could you not give me the money? It's my policy.
No, it's not our policy.
No, it's not your policy. Well, my policy. Well, of course, but obviously we're not fans of each other's policies. I get either $25 cash, non-traceable, or a baby. Or a baby.
Okay. This is saying goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'd buy you a drink, but I snuck mine in. So unless you want a shot of this generic gin, gin. And I've been drinking in the corner since I don't know when. And I won't be much use to you, but look, I think your ass looks delicious. I got to get my dick in your britches. He will. Your body gonna make me religious. Hey, you know I wanna sex it with you, but look, now I got a lot of bitches to plow, so you can fuck me later, but you should fuck me now.
What's it gonna be?
What's it gonna be? Ha. I ain't got all night now. Okay. I see that guy you're with, and I know he's hot, and I know he's rich, but he's got nothing on me when it comes to fucking. Ha. Now, if you even really cared about that vagina of yours, you wouldn't leave it in the hands of an amateur. You put it on my dick and you sit real good. You know that's where you wanna be. Look, now, I got a lot of bitches to plow, so you can fuck me later, but you should fuck me now.
What's it gonna be?
What's it gonna be? Ha! I ain't got all night now.
What's it gonna be?
What's it gonna be? Ha! I ain't got all night now. Listen, I know an alley where we could fuck all night, and I promise not to come until the morning light. But you know I got about 1 billion bitches to plow, so you can fuck me later, but you should fuck me now.
What's it
Come
gonna
on.
be?
What's it gonna be? Ha! I ain't got all night now.
Oh, what's it gonna be?
What's it gonna be? $1 million strong. I ain't got all night now.
Hi, I'm David Prague. You might know me from those spam emails you get every day. I don't send them, but for some reason people know me from them. I'm here to talk to you fine people today about AdBlock Inc. Also, they'd like me to point out that Inc. stands for Incorporated, not ink from a pen. I don't know why that's important. But AdBlock, they will block ads, and not just from the internet like normal ad block companies. No, we block all advertisements. They will stand in front of your television. They will talk over your radio ads. Sometimes they rip pages out of magazines. Once or twice, they even painted over billboards. Actually, the money to that went less for services rendered and more for the legal fees they got for trespassing. You know what, actually, this is kind of a long ad for an organization that blocks ads. They're acutely aware of this fact, don't worry. That's why they need your money. Give it now, and you'll never have to hear this ad again. Hell, give enough, you'll never have to hear any ad again.
I'm gonna make it fast. Forget the people who are in my past, unless they can introduce me to some Hollywood producer who can help me skip some steps along the way and make a name for myself here in LA. Then laugh at the people who could barely pay their car, their gas, their acting class, their rent, their bills, their weight loss pills, gym membership, their pecs, their tits, their $70 parking tickets. Fuck everybody, it's easy to see that no one else is as deserving as me. I've put in my time, now it's time for my time. But why isn't anyone waiting in line to see me? What about me? I'm working 60-hour weeks, driving back and forth between the Hollywood peaks. At night I start my moonlighting, taking names and networking. And if I'm lucky, I get a couple hours of sleep. I count calories and carbs every time I eat, but that's the price you pay to stay skinny and chic. Just 10 more years of trying my best until I'm an overnight success. Think I'm going insane, but you never guess, because I suppress all my fear and stress. I'm trading my life for the life I adore, completely forgetting who I was before. I can't wait till I'm famous and finally there. I'll have everything and nobody to share it with. It's gonna be awesome. I'm stuck in traffic, but that's okay. This isn't my car, but it will be one day. This is my apartment, I only pay $1,200 a month. Plus utilities. It's been 10 years and I'm still here. Any second now, I'm gonna get that phone call. He's gonna say, hi, I'm the top-notch guy. Are you ready to be paid way too much money? And I'm gonna say, I've been waiting for this day for 9 odd jobs and too many birthdays. But that hasn't happened yet, and I'm 38 and I've started doing drugs to pretend life's okay. It's gonna happen soon, any second now. I'm gonna be alright, don't you worry about me. Soon you will see, this was all worthy of all my money an identity, friends and family, getting married, having babies, being happy, eating weekly, selling my body. When everyone sees that I'm more important than them. I just want to be loved by everyone. I just want to be loved by anyone.
Hey guys, it's Christina Hughes, the Queen of Fancy, with the flair for the swear. Be sure to check out my website, fancycomedy.com, and follow me on Twitter, @fancycomedy.
Greetings, podcast fans. My name is Mike Canestaro, and I'm the author of Not for Children's Stories and Not for Children's Stories 2. And I'm about to read to you a Not for Children's story. So if there's children in the proximity, you should probably put them in a closet or the washer or dryer or something while I read to you this selection titled Uncle Chuck. Uncle Chuck can't come out to play. He can't come out any day. Uncle Chuck can't push my swing. Uncle Chuck's inside to stay. Uncle Chuck is Daddy's brother. Uncle Chuck lives with his mother. Daddy says his life went wrong, so Uncle Chuck can't enjoy summer. Uncle Chuck used to be fun. Uncle Chuck showed me his gun. We lined up cans and shot them down, far away from everyone. Uncle Chuck took me downstairs, and Uncle Chuck showed me he cares. He said, "Watch out, that thing is hot. Hot plates everywhere." Uncle Chuck called my dad. Uncle Chuck was really sad. Daddy drove down to the jail and Daddy had to pay $5,000. After Daddy paid $5,000, Uncle Chuck can't play in sand. He watches me from Grandma's house because he wears an ankle band. Uncle Chuck doesn't smile. Uncle Chuck awaits his trial. The lawyer said that things look grim. Uncle Chuck might go away for a while. One day when I came inside, Uncle Chuck started to cry. He told me that he let me down, and from now on, he'd try to try. Thank you for listening. This was a Not for Children story, and my name is Mike Canestaro.
There have been a lot of songs written about love. There have been a lot of songs written in hatred and in spite. But there's never been a song written about how cute I think Asian babies are. And who better to write and sing this song than the one who thinks they're so fascinatingly, adorably cute? Enjoy. I want an Asian baby from Korea or Japan, Vietnam, it doesn't matter, I just want it in my hands. But no one will let me play with their Asian baby. Maybe it's the mustache, maybe it's the way I dress, but every time I approach, the parents get so upset and they won't let me play with that baby. Do I have to steal one? but no one will let me play with their Asian baby. Tell me this! Why won't you let me play with your Asian baby? Why won't you let me play with your Asian baby? Soft little Asian baby, I want to play with your baby. I think you have a special baby. I want to play with your baby. I think I have one more thing to say. I deserve an Asian baby from Korea or Japan. I swear I've been a good boy, just put it in my hand. But no one will let me play with their Asian baby. Baby, baby, Shankaranka Asian baby. Baby, baby, Shankaranka Asian baby. Baby, baby, Shankaranka Asian baby. Baby, baby.
Grab a pin, warm up your wrist. It's time to play Odious List.
Yeah! Roll the die to get a letter. Then make a list of answers from a list of phrases.
Like this. Things a guy might name his dick.
Pussy pounder.
Pecker. Prick. Places that you might hide drugs.
Pregnant people.
Penis.
Hugs.
I'd never date someone who is
poor. Paralyzed. Parenting kids.
Things you don't give a shit about.
Penny.
You too?
Well, that one's out. If two people use the same word, neither person gets a point. Oh, you also used queef cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Extra points for alliteration.
Ways to avoid pregnancy.
Big brown bag blocking babies. Wow! 5 points. If you try to cheat, you'll be challenged by the other players.
Things you find in a crack house.
Moaning Martha's Minnie Mouse.
Hey!
That's cheating, you mother... Odious Lists. We're gonna find out who's naughty. Available now.
And now, Comedy A Go-Go presents Fake Advice for New Comics.
It's your job to tell new open micers that they don't need to be as funny as you, because you have more experience.
Do you have an impression request for Marco Fuji or just want to contact the show? Send an email to jason@wedon'thavecookies.com.
You can also call 929-266-9342 and leave a voicemail. All that contact info will be in the show notes. And my birthday is going to be this Friday, so send me an email or a voicemail. Wish me happy birthday. I'd like to hear from you guys. Speaking of birthdays, the 2-year anniversary of the podcast is coming up next month. If anybody out there knows somebody in Vermont, please ask them to download the show. That way I can finally say that I've been downloaded in all 50 states. That would be a great start to the 3rd year, or a great way to end the 2nd year. I've been downloaded all over the UK.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
I'm just venting. Yeah. It blows me away. I've been downloaded in, I don't know what you call them over there. I know they're not states, but the little sections in the UK.
I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, I don't either. I've talked to Choo Choo Stew about that. He's our guy over in the UK. But I've been downloaded in all those areas, but I can't do it in the States. But to be fair, there's like 40 less over there. It's a little easier. I usually do this. It's a question from last week's guest, but for the 2nd week in a row, I didn't get a question back in time. So we are going to have a scenario from our friends over at the This or That podcast. The scenario is, would you rather have the body of an 80-year-old or the brain of a 12-year-old? Yeah. Because at first it kind of seems obvious, but then the more you think about it,
Does
the harder
it seem
it
obvious? Is it supposed to be obvious? Because I'm just kind of
To me, I would rather have I was going to say I would rather have the brain of a 12-year-old because the body of an 80-year-old just sounds cumbersome.
But
depending if you got to live out the rest of your natural life, however long that would be.
So if you have the brain of a 12-year-old, what's your body like then? That's what I'm thinking. Like, if I have a brain of a 12-year-old, what's my body like? I need to know the other side.
If it's like it is now.
Like it is now? So, like, my body now, but I'm a brain of a 12-year-old?
Yeah. I'm assuming that's what it would be.
Okay.
And you would have the same brain you have now.
What's my brain like if I have an 80-year-old body? My brain now?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like to sleep a lot, so I bet my 80-year-old body probably will look better than my 36-year-old body. So, because I plan on getting really fit really late in life, so
you're going to be
goal.
like Judge Judy.
Like, I've slowly been losing weight. I was really big in my 20s, and I've slowly been losing the weight. So I assume that by the time I'm 80, I'll probably be only like 5 feet tall and like 100 pounds, and I'll be like so happy. And then I'll die.
Judge Judy works out every day. I thought that was pretty impressive because I don't work out at all. And the fact that she can get up and do that just blows me away.
I work out a lot. I have a very addictive personality. That's probably why I'm an alcoholic. No, I'm not an alcoholic. I got addicted to exercise like a couple years ago, and just like, it's like something I need to do now. So I think that's good, though.
Yeah.
But I played sports when I was younger. Like, I played a lot of sports, and I played junior Olympic volleyball, and I was really good at every sport I played. I played basketball, I played softball. So, like, exercising is just kind of second nature to me. I still don't know why I'm so fat, but I am going to Spaghetti Warehouse when I leave here in Dayton, so
I love
that might be why. I got a gift card. It's like, well, you know, I shouldn't eat a giant platter for two, because they have this platter that has like ravioli and spaghetti and like a little bit of everything.
And it's all good.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
My husband eats most of it, though, but I eat a lot of the bread. I'm a bread and butter person. I'll just eat bread. I could eat bread and butter for the rest of my life. Bread and butter and cheese, probably. That's all I need. I'm done. I'm good.
I told my kid yesterday, some people build their bodies with weights. I build mine with pizza.
Yeah.
It's just a different kind of bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And speaking of 80-year-old bodies.
Oh, no.
You said something I wanted to follow up on a long time ago. You said you had so many questions you would like to ask.
Joan
Rivers, yeah. What's one of those questions that you would like to ask her? I know I would like to ask her something myself.
Well, I know a lot about her because I have now read so many autobiographies and biographies by her. Like, I kind of just want to ask her how she stays strong, because she went through a lot, and especially being a woman in comedy at the time she was. I'm sure she got a lot of shit from a lot of men and was not treated how she should have been treated. Because I have a tendency to fly off the handle, and she seemed a little bit more poised than me. So that would be one question, like, how do you stay strong? How do you keep doing it, even though you know that especially in the 60s, it's very male-dominated. It's still male-dominated industry. So I guess it's just like a lot of questions about being a woman in comedy. I have, a lot of questions about that because I don't really have anybody to ask those questions either. I mean, I have a lot of female comedian friends, but we're all really bitchy. So
that was going to be one of my questions, was how does she deal with the criticism?
Yeah.
Because she got so much of it. And like you said, at that time, things were more difficult. And it had to be really hard for her because there's not the platforms we have today to vent to.
Yeah.
You can't just contact somebody on Facebook Messenger and say, man, I had a really bad set. You're sitting in a hotel room.
Yeah, and I mean, her husband killed himself. And one of my favorite things about her is how she made jokes about that. That is just wild. She would always make jokes about the reasons why her husband killed himself, and a lot of them were things that she did. I guess that's how you do it. I mean, as a comedian, if something really bad happens, or you just make a joke about it and then tell it, and sometimes people laugh, sometimes they don't, but like, you have to tell it, get it off your chest.
Yeah, I think a lot of comedians, that's how they've become comedians. Is it's just a method of deflection.
Yeah.
Where something hurt really bad and you just make a joke about it and try to move on.
Yeah.
Instead of crying like normal people.
Yeah. This is what narcissists do. Go on stage and talk about themselves.
I read a fascinating story. I'm going to try to get this guy on the show. It's a disgruntled 7-Eleven franchisee. He opened a 612 store across the street with his goal of putting that particular franchise of 7-Eleven
612
out of business. I'll have a video on the website about
that just doesn't have the same ring to it, though. Are they going to have free Slurpees on June 12th?
Well, what's fascinating is he ran that store, the 7-Eleven, for, God, I don't remember. It was years. Mm-hmm. And the thing that made him mad is they wanted him to put out taquitos and hot dogs.
That made him mad.
It infuriated this man, which is why he must be on the show. Because he was throwing away hundreds of dollars worth of food because nobody would buy it. And he said, nobody's buying this.
You know what happens when you buy gas station hot dogs?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that happened to me a couple years ago, and it's not happening again.
It's happened to every comedian ever. Don't buy the gas station. Don't buy the cheeseburger hot dog. There's somehow made a cheeseburger into a hot dog.
Uh-huh.
Don't buy that either. Don't eat that. You might pass away immediately.
So he got mad at throwing hundreds of dollars of food in the trash and constantly telling them this isn't the market for that. So they got into that. They settled out of court on an amount of money to sell the franchise. And now he knows what all their costs are. Mm-hmm. So he's just undercutting them.
That's so smart.
And it's brilliant. I want to help this guy.
I wish I understood business at all. I do not.
Longtime listeners, if you remember the episode Something Fishy with Kenny Bolin, we shut down that seafood store. I want to shut down the 7-Eleven. Hopefully, I think the guy will probably come on the show. He seems very vindictive, and this will be a good platform for him.
That would be.
Well, we're coming up to the last segment. It's this week's Dumbass of the Year. It was a tourist wearing a fake shark fin who was harpooned 9 times by villagers in Thailand. We went over this on Cape Crew Radio too. Go check that out. Those guys have a pretty good take on it, but I wanted to get your opinion on that. And I also want to add, it was the first day of this guy's 2-week vacation with his 2 friends who he was trying to pull this prank on. He put a shark fin on, swum out a little further away from his friends, started swimming towards them. I think it was 10 or 12 boats of fishermen surround this guy and just start hurling harpoons at him and whatever they could find.
Is he alive?
Yeah. That was the other thing I saw in the story. Is once they found out, hey, this is a human, which, come on, I'm sure the last 1 or 2 were just because they thought he was an asshole.
Probably.
Because after they hit him once, I'm sure he screamed.
Man,
and sharks don't scream.
I think it would have been. It would be better if he was just eaten by a shark. That would have been better.
That would have been great.
The irony. But there's so many, like, the sharks right now are so close to land, especially in the U.S. right now. That's not a cool prank, dude, okay?
What was
that's
great?
Not.
In the article, they said that a lot of people have done this, and it's went wrong. For example, and they gave an example from 2007 and 1996. And I thought, it doesn't seem like it goes wrong that much if those are the examples you're citing.
No.
But the best part is they finally get the guy up on one of the boats, and all the fishermen are now trying to help the guy. There was some kind of weird part in the article where it was typed funny, and I couldn't quite follow it. But it seems like the nearest hospital for this guy was 6 hours away.
Well, yeah, you're in Thailand.
Yeah,
right.
So that wasn't a fun trip.
No. I mean, that would be like me, like, putting on a fake bomb and going into a store and being like, I'm going to blow you up. No, it's just a prank. It's not a prank, dude.
I was just trying to scare my two friends over in the CD
yeah,
section.
That's all. That's all I was trying to do. I read this story actually about this boyfriend. All these stories about boyfriends hating their ex-girlfriends. He built a pressure cooker bomb, and he put a bunch of nuts and bolts in it and stuff, took it to her house and put it under her bed, and then left, and then was waiting for it to explode. Luckily, the guy was not a genius, and it never exploded, and she found it, and she called the police, and the police went over to his house, and they were like, you know, like, there's children in the room next door. If this would have blown up, it would have killed him. And he was like, I don't care. I just want her dead.
Wow.
Yeah. Scary. Scary. And he's probably going to go to jail on some crazy federal charges because you can't just go around putting bombs in under people's beds. Okay? So that guy's kind of a dumbass, too.
See, what we should do is just strap shark fins on these people and drop them off in Thailand with a parachute.
That is a good idea. I know a lot of people who would really benefit from a good harpooning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can make it to shore, you get to live.
Yeah.
We're not saying you can live here. You got to find your way to wherever. But
Yeah.
you're not getting away with that.
Definitely.
That is some crazy shit. I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, I work in the media, so all I hear is crazy stuff all the time. It's so wonderful. It's amazing. I do a lot of jokes off of it. One joke I do is about, do you remember the daycare fight club?
No.
These women in maybe New Jersey or something, somewhere east, started a daycare fight club where they would pit the kids against each other and have them fight.
That sounds awesome.
I know, that's what I said. So I made this whole joke about what their names would be and stuff. It's such a good joke. I haven't done it in a while. I need to do that.
Love
Daycare Fight Club.
Coming in from Arkansas is Little Rock.
Yeah, you win. Like, first place is graham crackers. Like,
that is great.
Take little Timmy to daycare, and then you pick him up. He's got like a bite out of his neck. Like, oh, it's Mike Tyson daycares.
Holy shit! When did this happen?
Taken him there. It was like a year ago, I think. I thought about it because they just got sentenced not too long ago, so it's in my mind. So.
Well, you're going to be the Facebook administrator now.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I'm so glad you told me about that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Damn, my kid was in daycare too, and I bet she could have kicked some ass.
Man. Yeah, I know. I wonder if they were placing bets and stuff, or if they were just bored. Like, hey, this job is really boring. I got an idea.
You know how they're always biting each other anyway, and we have to stop it.
Let's bet on it. Yeah. There's no cameras here, right?
Did they have a ring?
I don't know if they had a ring, but they probably had a hula hoop or something. Like, put them in.
I would love to see
or a crib or something.
I would love it if they mixed it up. And
I wonder
today
if
is
they
sumo
poked
day.
them or something, too. Like, to anger them. Or,
like they do bulls.
Yeah. Take their bottle away or their pacifier. They'd be like, just angry.
I would love it if they switched it up and each day was a different kind of sport.
Yeah.
And the kids who were still in diapers, you got to sumo wrestle. So you still have that thing.
Yeah.
You put them in a hula hoop and there you go.
I said, aw. That would be adorable.
It would be,
little babies. Because they look like little sumo wrestlers already. With like their fat rolls. I love the babies with the fat rolls just everywhere.
It would be perfect for them.
It would be good.
All right. Do you got anything you want to plug?
I will be funniest person in Cincinnati at Go Bananas next week. I just started a new website. It's daytoncancomedy.com. Mm-hmm. And what it is me and some of the local comedians, we have just blogs where we write. We write about shows, and then we do a lot of humor and satire. So the whole point is, like, there's a lot of things that you write and you can't really do them on stage, or you try and it doesn't work. So this is kind of like a forum for, you to talk about, hey, I went on the road and then here's this weird bit that I just can't get to work on stage. I'm going to make a blog out of it or something. So just me and, about 4 or 5 of the local comedians. So yeah, check that out at daytoncancomedy.com. And then we also have a Facebook page. So.
All right. This week will be the return of Benny Mac from New Zealand, which also means it's going to be the return of this month's Dumbass of the Year. We have a couple episodes to catch up on, so it'll probably be a little bit longer than usual, but that's okay. Everybody seems to like Benny. And if you haven't, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. Also, be sure to check out the podcast on Facebook. There's always a link in the show notes, so you can go there and click that, hit like. I'm going to try to do more on that page like I was talking to Jessica about. And I found somebody who's going to start drawing a weekly cartoon based on something that happens on the podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So even though there wasn't a Thursday show, I'm still working on the show, people. Well, it was great having you over. I hope to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for us, and I'll talk to you Thursday.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show and leave a review.
I didn't smell or anything.